JT Worcestershill called me crying. And he said, Utah deserves a college football playoff spot over Notre Dame and Alabama. And you may think he's a crazy person, but I think he's right. This is the Dose Grande Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Kapow! Happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome to the Big 12 squad. That is Jeff Carr of Locked On Bearcats, talking all things, well, what's left of Cincinnati. There's Kevin Borba of Locked On Buffs with Deion Sanders, still very squarely the head coach, fret not, and Nick Maravettes of Locked On Cyclones. Good again? Question mark. There's JT Worcestershill of Locked On Utes. Has been good, just lost to 2 top 10 teams, and Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State has been bad. But if you ask Chris Kleiman, Stillwater's a very hard place to play. And Kansas State, similar to Tulsa, was lucky to get out of there with a win, right? It's very challenging to do. Fair. Of Locked On Big 12. If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. JT, let's start with you then.
I'm not crying. Look, I'm not crying. See, I'm good.
You've dried it up. Proud of you. Your Wi-Fi seems great. Your microphone's working as well. We'll see how long that lasts. I mean, I'll let you speak on behalf. Honestly, so I said on my show earlier this week that it's kind of like Utah and BYU are almost holding hands in the situation where they are. Utah is the barometer. Like BYU can't drop past them. So as long as they stay up, then BYU is going to be that one tick above. But I just think that both teams are still undervalued, considering the 2 lost teams ahead of them haven't really beaten anybody.
Oklahoma hasn't beaten anyone? They just beat Alabama.
They beat Alabama. I'll probably give you Oklahoma.
That's pretty good.
You want to make the case against you want to help somebody else here?
Well, let's go. Well, Notre Dame, I mean, yes, they have 2 losses, but they were 2 incredibly close losses to a really good team. They looked like they belonged on that field. You do have to reward someone for playing good competition. I don't have an issue with where Utah. I don't have an issue. I know, but they've also dominated teams, which is something like in this instance.
Dominated nobody.
Who?
Notre Dame.
Exactly.
Notre Dame.
Exactly.
Notre Dame hasn't dominated anyone. Notre Dame hasn't dominated. They just dominated Pitt.
Nobody, because they played no one. They played the Pitt coach said he wanted to lose by 100.
BYU beat Colorado by 3. BYU went to overtime with Arizona. If they are among the top 10 teams in the country, they should be higher. Like, let's look at scoring margin. Do you know if
Did you not just watch Texas A&M play?
I did, but Texas A&M also has some good wins on the season too, and they're undefeated. When you're undefeated, you get that cushion. Hence why BYU was ranked higher when they were undefeated. You lose, you get penalized, and not just a loss too. They got blown out, Drake. It's also crazy that you said I was the one crying because I saw as soon as these committee rankings come out, you're the one talking about Oregon is overrated. How is Oregon overrated? They're in the top 5 in scoring offense and top 10 in scoring offense and defense, top 5 in scoring margin. This is a really good Ducks team. BYU got blown out. Oregon has not gotten blown out all season long. I want the BYU Utah to
Oregon
be higher.
lost by double digits at home against the top 5
10.
BYU lost by double digits on the road.
Don't do that. They lost by 10. They lost by 10 in a
Once
close
it gets
game
double digits, I give up. After double digits. I stopped counting. That's all.
BYU got. There you go. There you go.
Oregon didn't look good in the Indiana game at home. Again, I think BYU plays Texas Tech at home. BYU's 3 turnovers away from at least being a 10-point loss, right?
They didn't score until the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and Utah scored 10 points too. Like I think I would agree that Texas Tech is head over heels better than anybody else in the Big 12. At the same time, I think Oregon's getting love for beating no one. Their best win is still
Iowa.
Northwestern.
Iowa's
unranked. Iowa's 5-4, 6-4.
BYU has 1 ranked win.
Iowa State beat Iowa. We're all beating Iowa.
I know.
That's right, Drake. We're all beating Iowa.
That was a healthy Iowa State team back then when they were.
Oh my God! Are you also on the camp of like, well, that was them then, and this is them now?
Nick, was Iowa State not better when they were healthy? Yes. Is that breaking news?
It doesn't matter. Iowa's always terrible. That's the point that matters.
Hey, Parker.
Hey.
The good news is Iowa beat Xavier in basketball. We here in Cincinnati.
Is it basketball season now, Jeff? Is that where we're at already? I need y'all to win this weekend. You're already talking about basketball. Jeez.
Football got us to basketball.
You're fine with where Utah and BYU are ranked and who they're ranked behind.
Yes, I absolutely am. I think it's fair. Alabama has way more impressive wins than a BYU, than a Utah.
Yeah.
If BYU had
They have one win. Bama has that to win at Georgia, no doubt. Outside of that's their only win.
Missouri, Tennessee, they're still top 25 teams.
Missouri.
BYU.
What is Missouri?
Drake, what are BYU's impressive wins outside of Utah based on what you're qualifying as impressive wins?
The Arizona road win looks really good right now.
You're going to say the Arizona win looks good, but devalue the Tennessee game.
They're one and the same. But one was on the road. Bama played Tennessee at home.
I think you're missing two things. But one, I think you're really missing is that once you go from a 4-team to a 12-team playoff, you're talking about like teams that have a shot to win it all. And all, like it's more about qualifying for the dance at this point, because I don't mean to spoil this for anyone. There are never 12 teams that can win it all. Like that will always be.
The country won last year. That's 4 spots away from being 12.
That's not 12. And that's what I'm saying is like it's never going to be. So the goal is to get in the dance. You need to have like a resume and like having one loss in a Power 4 conference is a resume. It's about being good enough to get in that dance. It's not that there's ever 12 or 16.
Notre Dame went to the national championship last year and lost to Northern Illinois. Mm-hmm. They had a bad loss. Doesn't mean they were the second best team in college football.
And BYU's resume this year is every bit as impressive as Notre Dame last year, if not more.
More. Notre Dame this year especially is especially. JT, I believe, based on this, we love the Fugazi, the eye test. I believe Utah could go toe to toe with anyone in the country defensively. I think Utah's defense is that. I think Utah Indiana neutral site is a ball game. I think it's a ball game, man. You know, and they're ranked 12th, and they're gonna get booted for Tulane. Why are you not upset with some of this?
Because I think every other team ranked above them could also be right there with it. Like, why should Utah get to all of a sudden move up? You want Utah ahead of Bama? I guess that's the only team we can put them ahead of, right? Like,
that's right.
That's the argument.
That's right. Utah's better than Bama. You heard it here first.
I think if Cody's saying that, he really means it, by the way.
Exactly true.
I think that if we're going to already allow 2 lost teams to be ahead of 1 lost teams, as we've proven we're going to do, that at that point, Utah could be above Oregon. Resume-wise, Utah could be above Oregon.
They could be, but Oregon has been incredibly impressive, dominated everyone. And also, I'll say this, Oregon, let's see against USC this week, right? Like, this is where they have an opportunity to get a USC team that I think is really good and rising. Look, this is where I'm glad that we have the context of saying, hey, there's 2 loss versus 1 loss, but their schedule's been much easier so far on the season. Drake, BYU played no one in the non-conference. That's going to hurt them.
So what you're saying is the Big Ten schedule means that they deserve to be ahead of Utah. That makes sense.
Well, in this instance, yes, it does.
But the Big Ten schedule hasn't even been good.
The Big Ten, JT, stop doing
JT, Utah's road win against Cincinnati by 1 million points. They invented a new number of points to win by. That is better than any win Oregon has. And Oregon played no one in played an easier non-conference than BYU. Sorry, Cody.
I look back at that Iowa win. That's going into the Cyclones' house, getting a win there. That was incredibly impressive.
Cyclones?
Hawkeyes. Thank you. Yeah, there we go.
It is a Cyclone State, though, right now.
That is maybe the most disrespected I've ever been.
I mean, you also have to think about the SEC is still going to play itself out, right? Like these teams still have to play one another. Oklahoma has to play LSU. Alabama has to play Auburn. Like these aren't ranked matchups, but they're rivalry matchups.
Name 2 teams that have already fired their coaches.
Have we not seen teams get frisky down the stretch in the rivalry week?
Frisky?
Hey, we got frisky on Saturday. Not frisky. No, we didn't have Rouge yet. We weren't Rouge yet ready, but we were frisky.
Exactly.
I think that's the issue, though, right? Like the losses for
they weren't hard enough.
Count differently. They count differently for the SEC, whether fair or not.
Well, it counts differently for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's best 2 wins are losses. Their best 2 wins are losses.
Facts. Have you not seen that? Auburn's ranked like 24th. They're the best 4 and 5 team I've ever seen.
FBI has Utah above Texas Tech, which is hilarious.
The real question is, if Georgia Tech beats Georgia, does Georgia Tech jump into the playoff?
That's an at-large probably.
Does it knock Georgia out, but also do they jump in?
It won't knock Georgia out, but it would definitely put them in. It would have to.
I don't know.
Texas A&M has to play at Austin, so that's going to be a tough one. Like, although Texas has looked terrible against Georgia. Like all these teams have at least one remaining matchup. Like they play I mean, they're playing their local high schools this week, but next week is when it gets real. And so a lot of these teams are going to have their season dashed by a team with nothing to lose. Like that is the goal of Auburn, the goal of LSU, the goal of a lot of these schools is to ruin seasons. And we are getting to that point of the year. And not a lot of these schools have room for room, I guess.
Yeah, if Oklahoma loses, you're going to see BYU and Utah jump them. That's a good conversation. I need to tell you about FanDuel as well. Also, and on that track, Texas dropped 7 spots. BYU dropped 5 after a road loss against a top 5 team. That helps the Big 12, Locked On Big 12 squad. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. And hopefully some sort of headache pills. Thanks, JT. The NBA is back. There's no better place to get down on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, even combine your live bets in the same game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps the game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com. Sign up, play your game. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, is FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com and do it today. Love the point there about Georgia Tech. And even, if we see Texas beat A&M, right, do they jump ahead? I thought it was very valiant by the committee, who now has an SEC. Sorry, guys. On behalf of my athletic director, sorry, guys, that he can't behave outside of work at all. And embarrass the Big 12. That's why I bet.
Does he behave at work too? Is that implied there? Is that true?
Can't even dress correctly. It's kind of a trap.
He basically assaulted a player for wearing the wrong undershirt. So where does he behave would probably be the better question.
I don't think he behaves, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know if he ever has. So sorry about that. Sorry. They appointed an SEC athletic director to be the head of the board of the chair now. And I thought, BYU dropping 5 spots was a little violent, but not the worst thing in the world. Could have been much worse. In years past, maybe it would have been the way they lost to Texas Tech. I thought Texas dropping 7 spots to 17, beautiful for the Big 12. Pretty impressive. The committee put their foot down for a 3-loss team.
Well, so it's like they actually viewed Texas from their merit as opposed to just them being a massive brand. Go figure that one.
Yeah, I think they looked at, and I sort of feel like this is what's hurting BYU to tie this back to the first segment is they're looking at how bad they're losing, right? Yes. Texas got blown out by Georgia. The game against Ohio State was close, but it wasn't necessarily close to the very end. And then against Florida, same thing. Like it wasn't a close game. So Texas has proven to be not as reliable as their brand would like to think they are.
Yeah, and even the win against Oklahoma, right? That's a hurt Mateer. Like, that's why I'm okay with Oklahoma moving up as far as they did, is it's like they had a hurt quarterback, John Mateer, looking better, looking healthy, and they deserve to be rewarded for that win versus Texas. We look back, yeah, you got a good win against a Vandy, in my opinion, but like you guys said, like how you win and lose these games has to matter when we're measuring teams by narrow 1 to 2 loss margins. And I think it's good that Texas plummeted because it feels like this Arch Manning train can finally be put to a halt, at least for this season.
They also almost dropped that Vanderbilt game, but I love that JT is always talking about backup quarterbacks. It's every week, man. I love it.
You can't fault the team for a backup quarterback.
Also, what happens to Texas A&M and Utah and BYU if Texas beats Texas A&M in that last week? Like that really has to throw
Utah
a
and BYU.
right?
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If that happens, just because
I think today we proved that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Also, making his appearance in the second quarter after halftime, just like the TCU Horned Frogs, Darian Gray. Yeah, you kind of nailed that entrance.
On brand, guys.
Nicely done. Are we in fire the coach territory, Darian?
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. No, let's not sugarcoat it. Now, is TCU there? We'll see. But everybody else who is not. No, not just me. Literally everybody who isn't a decision maker is there. But we'll see what I think. Come on, I see Baylor here. I think we know about feeling like it's time to make a decision, and it just doesn't happen.
No. It's been time for like 4 years. Don't trust me. I've been here.
Darian did not get the same response from Drake that I got when I said that off air. Interesting.
Houston would love to be Sonny Dykes' last game in Power 4 football. Houston would love that.
Houston will win too. That's kind of a.
Can I just say really quick,
where would the playoff picture, Parker? When's that happening?
Houston's 23 right now, baby. 23.
And when they don't lose to West Virginia, then we can start talking about them as a playoff team. But
hey,
getting
how
back
much
to
you
TCU,
beat us sometime? You've 0-5, JT. 0-5.
Yeah, this is supposed to be your best. This is supposed to be your awesome season. You had all the hype train on you guys,
It's
and you
year
fall
2 of a coach.
to West.
What are
and
you
fall
talking
to
about?
West Virginia.
Who was going
You
into
told
the
us we were
season
wrong.
that high on Houston?
I'm sorry, you told us we were all wrong about Houston, that they were going to be in the Big 12 title race and they were going to be a contender. And just when they start to do it, they have an abysmal loss. They have an abysmal loss.
They're
yes, they are.
Second year of a head coach.
What
are you talking about?
I'm talking about them. And no one thinks they're a contender. Does anyone here fear Houston right now?
Yes.
Well, I do play them this week, so I'm going to say
blew out 2 people on the screen. What are you talking about?
And you lost to West Virginia,
Arizona State,
and have not been impressive in some of your other games on the season. You went to overtime with an Oregon State team that is dreadful.
JT, who pooped in your Cheerios before this episode, buddy?
Really quick, I was just going to bring back the TCU thing. Where's TCU? Where's the TCU job rank if they do fire Sonny Dykes? That's just, I feel like, something to consider.
Right there with Baylor in the dump.
Yeah, I don't think it's high. And a lot of I heard a name, Eric Morris from UNC, thrown out earlier this week.
That's weird because he's also coaching at Oklahoma State, Baylor. He'll likely be at Penn State. I've heard his name thrown around, Auburn, and every other job.
So that's
AI helps everything.
People don't want to fire Sonny Dykes simply because they don't think that they'll get a good coach this cycle. Like that's the only reason people ever talk about not firing the coach. So
I mean, last year there was only 4 coaching spots open. So like you kind of Dave Aranda's probably hoping for the same thing where it's just like be solid enough to where they can't fire me and then maybe improve next year.
Yeah, I think that is the hope, honestly. And I think I don't know. I just get this feel that they're not going to pull that trigger. I don't know. And if Dykes gives them any reason not to, I think they won't. So I see 2 more opponents on here. I see Houston and I see Cincinnati. If he can win both of those games, I feel like he's probably going to save his job. And I mean, I said that same thing last week, but I didn't really believe it last week. It was kind of a pipe dream. So it was like, if you beat BYU, because it was such a pipe dream that it was the only game you needed to win to save your job because no one thought you could do it. But if you win these next 2 games, I think that they'll find a reason to keep him around.
Yeah. Great point.
Makes sense. I mean, he's not too far removed from playing for him.
I only disagree because I think that some of the coaches who have been fired, like Mike Gundy, would still be good coaches. That's why I still fire my coach here, is I get to go after some of these big names that lost their jobs. I mean, look.
That's what Virginia Tech just did. Yeah.
Yeah. They fired their coach.
TCU head coach Hugh Freeze.
Gary Patterson?
No.
Gary
Patterson.
So I just got here. He's trying to get me in trouble, man. He's trying to get me in trouble. The fan base would riot. Or not riot. What's the opposite of riot?
Darian, TCU head coach Ed Orgeron.
Oh, that'd be a fun one.
TCU head coach Kenny Dillingham.
It'd be fun.
Hey, how do y'all feel about
Sam Levitt? Does he bring Sam Levitt with him?
How do y'all feel about that? Dillingham and Levitt might go to LSU.
Levitt's already linked to Texas Tech and Miami, so he's already been shopped around. And so, I mean, I think that shows that Kenny Dillingham's leaving.
Miami's got a history of doing that.
Yeah. I mean, did you see the relative of his that was like, no, Nako, that's not what I said. And they said, like, we haven't decided. He screenshot his text message.
He's like, we're not officially doing that. We're just thinking about it.
And he just proved further that he's open to all options.
Oh my God.
That's his agent and his brother. I think, I mean, NIL agents are interesting people. They take like 70% of the pay and they don't know what they're talking about half the time because they're just friends or family members.
If Kenny Dillingham really left, it would be crazy considering how emphatic he's talked about, like, I'm Arizona State.
Okay,
I'm a life here. This is my dream job. This would be a
part about college football coaching. Every coach is at their dream job until another job comes. Like,
he's different.
I know,
right?
but like every job has more money, more resources. Like he could really tap out to Arizona State. Like last year could have been the peak for Arizona State. True. So where does that leave him?
Rich Rodriguez. Not Rich Rodriguez.
I always thought that Kenny was a kind of guy that would stay at Arizona State for 2 decades. But if you look at what just happened to Mike Gundy, the loyalty aspect of it in this new business is a little bit different. So perhaps Kenny Dillingham understands that sometimes it's better to get out while you're still a legend as opposed to being the villain that Mike Gundy now is.
If I may, as well,
Nick?
if I'm Kenny Dillingham, I look at my athletic director and say, give me more money for NIL, give me more money, give me more infrastructure. And he says, I can't. I look over at Texas Tech and say, I can't compete in this conference, and I leave. I go to the SEC where they're going to dump money into your program.
He also may have said
they're on your way out
by succeeding too early. Like the Mike Gundy thing is very real here, because like what happens if he doesn't succeed at that level he did last year? Do they run him out of town because they're used to that one season?
Well, and they run him out of town in a year where there aren't as good of jobs available. Whereas right now you get Tech or Miami, like you mentioned. I think Miami's deal is like it's all crystal ball because they've got everything else set up, and so like I think that's a great gig too. Not that I want to run Dillingham out of the conference, obviously, but like that's right there for him.
No, I think Jeff was about to make a really good point there. Commercial break. Jeff, what were you saying?
I was going to say you're either on your way out or you're on your way up.
That was it. That was the whole damn thing. I just took a commercial break.
Nailed it.
I made them wait for that.
It's the Batman thing, right? Like you're either the hero, you either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Because
I don't think
I feel like
I don't think that's
I
That's
tripped
close.
over that one, but
Very
close. When it comes to college coaching, like you either get that investment and you win and you get picked over by like a handful of schools, or you get fired. Like you don't really stay.
I would say Matt Campbell is the long-term hero. He's maybe one of only a few, but you got a few of them left.
Well, either way, and Witt and JT Kravis, Witt stayed long enough to be the villain because he's probably the next closest, right?
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of that, I guess, yeah, that's fair too.
Like JT, think about if Utah, they didn't, obviously. I'm just saying, if Utah done what they did last year, went 5-7, Whittingham is fired the Gary Patterson style, and it's like, oh shoot, he's probably a statue coach, but also bad taste in mouth. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't know if they would have fired him. It's different. I feel like because of what he's guided them through. But you're right. You're right. I mean, Gary Patterson guided them through a lot and got canned. So we'll see. I can also just say really quick, Arizona State is ranked. That's the one thing that is funny is we're talking about they having a down year, and they're currently ranked, and they're without their starting quarterback. Like it is crazy what Kenny Dillingham still continues to do there, and I think that's why he is a very attractive candidate. Right?
Didn't Utah beat them 42-10?
That's a ranked win, I think. Is that so? They're ranked.
But it's not as good as Notre Dame, huh? Utah doesn't deserve to be above Notre Dame, huh?
But JT was asking about ranked wins or something earlier, a resume, something. Anyway, someone.
Okay, but to JT's point a little bit here, man, Houston really didn't have a rough Big 12 schedule. I'm a Houston stan. Yes. I picked them at 8-4 preseason. I was right that they were going to be insanely good. That was me. I mean, hand up. Hey, I know ball.
But we said that in July, Drake. You and I both said, like. Part of the reason they're going to have a bunch of wins this year is because the schedule is fairly friendly, right? But it is also year 2 of a rebuild. They've got the highest ranked recruiting class in school history coming in. I mean, like it's all working upwards. But part of the reason was the schedule. They are at 8 wins. Like they're doing the thing too. You have to do it even if it's in front of you.
Yes, they're winning games, but I thought you were talking about them accomplishing. You talked about Connor Wigman and the Heisman race and all these things too. That's also just what I'm saying.
Hey man, dude's a homer. I love it.
We had 7 home games and we can't win flipping fracking nothing.
You win the battle of the fans. Yeah, exactly. You started the trend. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Houston's a weird team. I think Houston is a weird team in the sense that like they win games, like JT said. But it's kind of like BYU, except they don't just keep winning. They lose to West Virginia, right? Like where we talk about BYU having close wins, but they just find a way to grit it out. I feel like I've seen Houston do that quite a bit. Houston is a talented team. Like I think they're talented. I think that JT and Parker are having 2 kind of different conversations where Parker is saying, look at where we are and look at how we're ascending. True. But then JT saying, are you a contender right now? Yes or no? Or are you a force in the Big 12? Yes or no? So it feels like 2 different conversations, really.
That's valid. I totally agree with that.
Darian makes a wonderful point.
Way too level-headed for the squad show, Darian.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, what are you doing? Get out of here with all that logic.
So crap. We were a second or 2 away from doomsday scenario. Sorry, Parker, of Houston being 9-1 right now. What would we do with that? Well, actually, don't talk yet. Sorry. I realize what we're gonna do with that. You know how great it would have been if 11-1 Houston and 11-1 Texas Tech went to the Big 12 championship and BYU and Utah backdoored their way to the college football playoff because they didn't have to play in Arlington. That actually would have been really good, like lead block from the left guard, like pulling left guard. Here comes Houston getting eaten by Texas Tech, and BYU and Utah just slip in at number 9 and 10. That's rich right there.
Can we talk about something really quick? I thought was actually very concerning for the Big 12 tonight. Did you guys notice how the new CFP chair answered the question about how teams will be viewed who play in a conference championship game? He gave a crap answer. Like, he basically said nothing, but he absolutely in his answer basically implied, like, yes, a conference, you can get a negative strike on your resume even if you make a conference championship game, which is a concern for a Big 12 because it doesn't mean 11-1 BYU. If they were to lose, get blown out again, they would be taken out of this. Or if Utah gets in there and they get blown out or something, like, but any teams, it's just not this is where it hurts. Like, I don't feel like the Big 12 is in a great position to get two teams in right now because I think Tech is going to win the Big 12 title and someone's going to get another loss, and that won't be good.
100%.
They set the precedent.
I do think that the committee does value the Big 12 more so than in the years previously. I don't know that it's going to hold up, but as it sits now, I would say that the committee seems to be giving the Big 12 at least enough of an ability to get two teams in. So we'll see if it holds.
Parker, I don't think it happens.
I gave Parker an opportunity to speak, and then I cut him off. I'm sorry, Parker.
No, we were talking about a West Virginia loss earlier, and I was going to point out that context people forget is that, like, they had lost a fairly influential coach to cancer that week and played 11 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving. But that always gets lost in the context of that West Virginia game. But
Thanksgiving?
After Halloween. Sorry, I haven't slept in a long time, but I'm here.
Teaching and coaching, baby. Darian, you don't think the Big 12 can get to it?
I don't think I think they can, but I don't think it happens. Like, I wonder, because mind you, like I said, showed up late, second quarter. Yay. I missed the beginning of what you guys had to say, but I feel like I feel like Oklahoma winning was like the worst thing for the Big 12. It was terrible. So now you're looking at an Oklahoma that plays LSU and Missouri, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
LSU and Missouri, I think.
Yes.
If Oklahoma gets in, you start going through the numbers. If we didn't have automatic qualifiers, if you didn't have to guarantee that the ACC team is going to get in, if you didn't pretty much guarantee G5 is going to get in, then yes, I think we have a conversation. But BYU sitting at 11, and there's not an ACC team above them. There's not a G5 team above them, which by my math will push them to 13 and not have two teams from the Big 12 in. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that top 10 changes too much. So I think we have to watch the back end of SEC play. But right now, I'm not feeling as optimistic as I did 3 weeks ago.
I just don't. If you're in the SEC and your only two losses are the number 11 team in the country on the road and the number 5 team in the country at home, yeah, obviously that SEC team makes it in, no doubt, 100%. They're probably a 7 seed playing a home game. But in the Big 12, woe is you. Tulane's in and you're not. Jake Retzlaff is a playoff quarterback, and Bear Bachmeier and Devin Dampier are not.
Yeah, I think it's the G5. Like, the automatic qualifiers is what's going to kill. I actually think that the automatic qualifiers is what we should be mad about and less about the SEC. As I just go through and look at the SEC, I don't know how many teams I'm poking holes in, but I probably will poke a hole in the ACC champ. Ole Miss?
Yeah, maybe Ole Miss. Close, Darian, but the only pushback I'd give there is if not for the automatic qualifier, we get 0 in last year.
Yeah.
I like the automatic qualifier. I'm not against that as a principle, but I do think it's one of the things that may cost a secondary team. So I like it. I think it makes sense, but Tulane is going to get in because the G5 has to get in. If they didn't, then you probably would see a second BYU or a second Big 12 team in BYU or Utah. So, like, I'm with you. I like the principle, but sometimes
Texas Tech cost you. But if Texas Tech wins the championship game, I don't think anybody else makes it in. Like, somebody's got to beat them.
Feels like
and Texas Tech has to be the at-large.
I should add that qualifier. You're right. If Texas Tech wins the conference,
I think if BYU or Utah make it, then they could make it into the playoff, and then Texas Tech can make it as an at-large. Then
don't y'all have me out here rooting on Utah? Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
Hey, you know who's not rooting for Utah? The committee. They moved Miami over Vandy. If Utah doesn't cover the spread against Kansas State this week, I bet Miami would jump Utah unless Miami looked bad or lost. It feels like they're trying to get Miami in over Utah right now.
Does Miami have one of those cool Citadel games?
I don't think so, actually. They actually play Pitt. Well, first of all, I could rant so long on Pitt and Pat Narduzzi last week going into last week's game, the attitude that he had leading into that, because that's another one. If Pitt could have somehow beat Notre Dame, that would have been good for the Big 12 too. But Miami's got a couple of games down the stretch. None are amazing. And, Miami isn't even going to get into the ACC title game more than likely. So it sucks that could be another at-large team with a chance to jump at Utah. And it feels like they're getting in for big brand because they have bad losses versus Utah only has good losses.
Who's your last game, JT?
Our last game is Kansas.
Okay. Those are two pretty good wins.
Oh no, Utah out here beating everybody by 30 points, 20 points. Like that's the
we average beating teams by 35 points per game, which is the best margin in the country. That's why Utah continues to stay where they are. They're a dominant force, but you also got to beat the good teams, and we lost to the two good teams. So at the end of the day, if Utah doesn't get in, they have themselves to blame.
Imagine if you had Haas Haney, what your season would look like.
I don't know, Bird Ficklin, man. Y'all look him up if you have it. He's crazy.
The Bird, man. People say if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, unless you're Utah. Unless you're Utah. That is the panel of Big 12 people that we have every week for the Big 12 squad. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thank you for making our shows your first listen every single day. If you hit subscribe, we can keep our jobs. Dose Grande Squad.